Welcome to Crime Chronicles, where the dark underbelly of the criminal world is laid bare for those brave enough to confront the truth. Picture a life built on unyielding loyalty, where every promise is sealed with blood and every secret has the power to destroy empires. In tonight's explosive episode, we delve into the shocking tale of Vince Ceni, a mafia husband whose 15-year union crumbled under the weight of a betrayal so profound, it defies imagination. In a city ruled by fear and the relentless pursuit of power, Vince's existence was one of unwavering honor and ruthless determination. His marriage to Amanda was more than a union. It was a fortress of strength, an alliance that had weathered countless storms in the perilous realm of organized crime. Yet, beneath the gleaming facade of their opulent mansion and the meticulously crafted image of mob respectability, a sacred secret festered. Amanda, once the embodiment of grace and loyalty, concealed a truth that would shatter everything Vince had built. On a fateful night, as torrential rain battered the city streets and neon lights flickered against the dark sky, Vince discovered a cache of hidden documents. These papers, meticulously tucked away, bore witness to a series of covert actions, secret abortive procedures that threatened to annihilate his legacy. In the brutal world of the Mafia, the continuation of the family line was sacred. It was destiny itself. Every word on those pages struck like a hammer, igniting a torrent of fury and despair in Vince's soul. Confronted by this devastating betrayal, Vince found himself at a crossroads between love and duty, between passion and the unforgiving code he had sworn to uphold. The ensuing confrontation was a collision of two irreconcilable worlds, the tender intimacy of a shared past and the cold, relentless demand for retribution. In that charged moment, with eyes burning with a mixture of heartbreak and steely resolve, Vince made a choice that would reverberate through the underworld and forever alter the course of his destiny. If you are drawn to stories of raw passion, ironclad codes, and the devastating consequences of hidden truths, then you've come to the right place. Stay tuned to Crime Chronicles as we peel back the layers of this gripping saga, revealing every twist and turn of a tale where secrets exact a harrowing toll. Prepare to journey deep into a realm where every whispered deception comes with a price, and where every act of betrayal leaves scars that time can never erase. The tragic story of Vince and Amanda is not merely a personal drama. It is an exploration of a world where honor is tested to its limits, and where the shadows of deceit can alter destinies in a single, irreversible moment. Join us as we uncover the intricate details of this tragic saga, where every secret is a ticking time bomb and every decision ripples across a dangerous legacy. The journey ahead will challenge everything you thought you knew about loyalty and betrayal. Stay curious always. For 15 long years, the union of Vince Ceni and Amanda was the stuff of legends, a dazzling display of power, charm, and unwavering loyalty that captivated not only the inner sanctum of the mob, but the entire underworld. Their public image was meticulously curated, a formidable partnership, emblematic of strength and prosperity, built on a foundation of trust that echoed through every illicit corridor of their empire. Vince, with his steely resolve and commanding presence, was the iron fist that enforced the family's honor. Amanda, graceful yet enigmatic, was the luminous counterpart whose poise and quiet determination made her an icon in a world where emotions were often a luxury few could afford. Their mansion, an architectural marvel hidden away from prying eyes, stood as a testament to their legacy. Opulent and isolated, it boasted intricate marble floors, walls adorned with rare art, and towering windows that framed the city's chaotic skyline. Yet, beneath its glittering surface lay secrets that even the most trusted confidants of the Ceni family had never suspected. It was here, in the silent, shadowed corridors and behind closed, heavy oak doors, that Amanda nurtured a secret so perilous it threatened to undo the very fabric of their storied life together. As dusk settled over the city, the mansion transformed into a labyrinth of whispered voices and concealed glances. Amanda's daytime grace gave way to a hidden world of clandestine meetings that unfolded when the clock struck midnight. It began with subtle deviations from her carefully rehearsed routine, an unaccounted-for phone call that faded into a low murmur, a lingering farewell to a friend who rarely saw her face, a hurried step out the back door as if chased by invisible phantoms. In hushed tones and in the quiet recesses of her mind, Amanda wrestled with an inner turmoil that defied the polished veneer of her public persona. Late one rain-soaked evening, as thunder rolled ominously over the city, Amanda found herself drawn to a secluded wing of the mansion. The corridor was dimly lit by flickering sconces that cast trembling shadows on the time-worn wallpaper. In a room concealed behind a false wall, a secret haven known only to her and a select few, she met with a figure cloaked in darkness. The figure's face was obscured by the brim of a hat, and their conversation, a hushed exchange of confessions and desperate plans, carried an undercurrent of danger. Every word they exchanged was laden with the weight of irrevocable choices and forbidden actions. The clandestine nature of these encounters hinted at a personal struggle far beyond the realm of marital discord, a struggle that, if exposed, could shatter the Cine legacy and leave scars on both their souls. Word of these mysterious nocturnal meetings began to seep into the grapevine of the mob. Loyal associates would exchange wary glances and furtive whispers in the dim light of smoke-filled back rooms, each speculation more dangerous than the last. Some claimed to have seen Amanda slipping into an unmarked car at odd hours, while others murmured of her secret rendezvous in abandoned warehouses on the city's outskirts. Yet, despite the growing swirl of rumors, Amanda maintained an impenetrable calm. Her eyes, usually so expressive and warm during family gatherings, now held a trace of distant sorrow, a silent acknowledgement of the double life she was forced to live. For Amanda, the struggle was both external and deeply personal. Behind the allure of a luxurious lifestyle and the trappings of power lay a heart tormented by a secret that gnawed at her conscience. Every clandestine meeting, every whispered confession in the dead of night, was a desperate attempt to reconcile the duality of her existence. She was bound by duty to the Cine legacy, yet torn by an internal battle that questioned everything she had ever believed in. Each secret encounter was a risk, a dangerous gambit that might one day unravel the carefully woven tapestry of her life. In the stillness of a moonlit night, as the city below slumbered unaware, Isabella would often sit by a window in her private study. There, amidst the soft glow of a solitary lamp and the haunting echo of a distant siren, she would trace the lines of an old photograph, a reminder of a simpler time before the weight of expectations and the burden of secrets had transformed her existence. The photograph, capturing moments of genuine joy and youthful hope, was a stark contrast to the life she now led. It served as a silent testament to the person she once was, and a painful reminder of what she had lost in the relentless pursuit of preserving a legacy that was no longer her own. As the years passed, the mansion itself seemed to take on a life of its own, a silent witness to the unfolding drama. Its ornate halls held echoes of laughter and whispered arguments, and every creaking floorboard appeared to murmur secrets long buried. For the staff, the whispered details of Amanda's nocturnal escapades were an open secret, shared in hushed conversations over candlelit dinners. They marveled at her resilience and mourned the loneliness that even the richest tapestry of wealth and power could not dispel. In the solitude of the mansion's hidden rooms, the reality of Isabella's internal battle became almost tangible, a palpable tension that threatened to burst forth at any moment. Yet, despite the mounting suspense and the relentless ticking of an unseen clock, the public facade of the Cine marriage remained unbroken. Vince, ever the stoic patriarch, continued to preside over the family with an air of imperturbable authority. His presence, both commanding and enigmatic, ensured that no one dared question the strength of their union. Even as Isabella's secret life wove a web of danger around their seemingly impenetrable fortress, Vince trusted in the sanctity of their legacy, a trust that would soon be put to the ultimate test. In the shadowed corners of that 15-year union, every whispered meeting, every stolen moment of vulnerability, and every clandestine confession built towards an inevitable confrontation. Amanda's secret was not just a betrayal of trust. It was a slow, painful disintegration of the very essence of the life they had built together. And as the walls of the mansion bore silent witness to this internal disarray, The stage was being set for a reckoning that would shake the underworld to its core. The story of Amanda and Vince, once celebrated as a perfect amalgamation of power and passion, was now a ticking time bomb. Beneath the gilded surface of their legacy lay a labyrinth of hidden truths and unspoken regrets. Stay with us to the end of this epic saga as the relentless pursuit of honor and the haunting specter of betrayal would converge, revealing that in a world ruled by secrets, the past has a way of catching up with even the most powerful. It was an unremarkable night, a night that should have been filled only with the mundane tick of a clock and the soft rustle of papers, but for Vince Cini, it marked the beginning of a descent into a labyrinth of secrets that would forever change his world. In his private study, a room cloaked in shadows and lined with relics of a storied past, Vince meticulously sorted through old ledgers and mementos. The dim light of a vintage desk lamp danced across the polished wood and scattered documents, setting the stage for a revelation that would strike at the very heart of the Cini legacy. As he reached for a leather-bound ledger hidden in a forgotten drawer, Vince's fingers brushed against something peculiar, a stack of faded envelopes and a bundle of papers tied together with a frayed ribbon. His pulse quickened as he untied the bundle, revealing a series of meticulously concealed medical records and handwritten notes. At first glance, they appeared innocuous, mere scraps of paper chronicling routine appointments and inconspicuous dates. But as Vince began to read, a disturbing pattern emerged that sent a chill down his spine. Each document was a fragment of a dark narrative, a string of aborted pregnancies, meticulously hidden behind forged doctors' reports and cryptic meeting notes. The records were precise in their details, dates, times, and locations scrawled in a hurried yet deliberate hand. One document, stained with what might have been accidental tears or hurried spills, mentioned an appointment at a secluded clinic on the city's outskirts. Another bore the signature of a doctor whose name, although familiar, seemed tainted by mystery. The more pages Vince turned, the more he realized that these were not isolated incidents, but a series of calculated actions designed to erase the promise of new life from the family tree. In the ruthless world of organized crime, progeny was far more than a biological miracle. It was the embodiment of legacy, honor, and the unyielding continuity of power. For Vince, the continuation of the Cini bloodline was sacred. The documents, with their cold, clinical details, challenged everything he had fought to uphold. Each page was a hammer blow to the very ideals he had built his empire upon, and as he pored over the evidence, his mind raced with a tumult of emotions. Anger, betrayal, and a profound sorrow intertwined, creating a maelstrom of thoughts that threatened to shatter his resolve. The handwriting, once so reminiscent of the woman he adored, revealed a secret life that Amanda had so carefully hidden. Every note, every forged report, was a whisper of a clandestine world, a hidden realm of secret meetings and midnight rendezvous at an unmarked location. Vince remembered the subtle signs, Amanda's unexplained absences, the hushed phone calls that ended abruptly when he entered the room, and the nervous glances exchanged with unfamiliar faces. Now, each piece of evidence painted a damning picture of a double life. A life lived in the shadows, far removed from the opulent, carefully curated image of their public union. The documents detailed not just the abortive procedures, but also covert communications that hinted at a network of clandestine meetings. One note in particular stood out, a hastily scribbled message on the back of a faded receipt that mentioned a rendezvous in a desolate warehouse on the outskirts of town. The note's language was terse and urgent, as if written under the constant pressure of looming danger. Vince's heart pounded as he imagined Amanda, the woman he had trusted implicitly, slipping into the night under the cover of darkness, her secret meetings orchestrated with precision and hidden from the prying eyes of the mob. As Vince continued to unravel the contents of the bundle, he discovered that the pattern of deception was relentless. Each entry confirmed a cycle, a confirmed appointment, a hurried meeting, and then the irreversible erasure of a potential heir. In the brutal arithmetic of the Mafia world, every aborted pregnancy wasn't just a personal tragedy. It was a fracture in the foundation of the family's future. The legacy Vince had spent decades building, the promise of a bloodline that would carry on the Cini name, was being systematically dismantled. The more he read, the more the room seemed to close in around him. The once familiar documents now appeared as incriminating evidence of a betrayal that ran deeper than mere infidelity. They were a testament to a double life. A life where Amanda had sacrificed the promise of motherhood in a bid to escape a fate that remained locked behind closed doors. With each document, Vince felt the weight of his shattered trust. The meticulously forged doctor's reports, stamped with counterfeit seals, were not merely forgeries. They were deliberate attempts to rewrite the narrative of their lives, to hide the truth at any cost. In that moment, Vince's study transformed from a sanctuary of memories into a crucible of confrontation. Every sound, the rustle of paper, the steady tick of the clock became a stark reminder that time was slipping away. The evidence before him was irrefutable, and the implications were catastrophic. In the brutal world of the Mafia, loyalty and honor were the pillars upon which empires were built. To see these foundations corroded by deceit was a blow that went far beyond personal betrayal. It was an existential threat to everything he had dedicated his life to protecting. Vince's hands trembled as he clutched the papers, his mind grappling with the enormity of the discovery. He could no longer view the carefully maintained veneer of their marriage as an unblemished symbol of unity. The truth was a corrosive force, capable of dismantling decades of trust and honor. Each document, each note, was a piece of a puzzle that exposed the depth of Amanda's secret, a secret that now loomed as an unforgivable betrayal, a wound that would not heal, but only fester. In that charged silence, the gravity of the moment sank in. Vince was forced to confront the duality of the life he had chosen, one of ruthless honor and one of personal anguish. The revelation was not merely about hidden pregnancies. It was about the slow disintegration of the legacy he held sacred. The forged records and covert meetings were like drops of poison, slowly contaminating the well of trust that had sustained his family for years. With the first light of dawn threatening to break through the heavy drapes, Vince knew that the course of his life was irrevocably altered. The documents laid out a path of betrayal that could not be ignored, a path that demanded a reckoning. In that moment, as the quiet hum of the city began to stir outside his study, Vince Senti made a silent vow. The truth, no matter how painful, would become the catalyst for a confrontation that would echo throughout the underworld. For in the unforgiving realm of the Mafia, where every secret was a potential weapon and every lie a dagger to the heart, the unveiling of Amanda's hidden truth was not just an end. It was the beginning of a reckoning that would redefine the very essence of power, honor, and legacy. And so, in that dimly lit study, surrounded by the remnants of a life built on ideals now shattered, Vince prepared to face the storm. The documents in his hands were more than evidence. They were the embodiment of a betrayal that would forever haunt him. The dark night had given way to an even darker reality, one that would demand justice, retribution, and ultimately, the price of a legacy betrayed. The air in the mansion's grand salon was thick with an oppressive silence, broken only by the steady tick of an antique clock and the distant hum of the city. The room, once a haven of shared dreams and quiet intimacy, now felt like a crucible where every past joy was about to be scorched by betrayal. Vince stood at the center, his face a mask of shock and seething rage, every muscle taut with the weight of a discovery that shattered his world. Across from him, Amanda lingered near the marble fireplace, her figure silhouetted by the flickering flames. The opulent surroundings, plush velvet drapes, gleaming chandeliers, and meticulously arranged art seemed to mock the raw human emotion unfolding in their midst. It was as if every elegant detail in the room now served as a reminder of a love turned bitter, of promises broken by secrets too dark to confess. Without a word, Vince stepped forward. His eyes, cold and unyielding, bore into Amanda as he began, voice low and tremulous with pent-up emotion. "How could you?" The single question, heavy with disbelief and heartbreak, reverberated off the marble walls, filling the space with a tension that was almost tangible. Amanda's eyes flickered, first with remorse, then with a defiant spark as she took an involuntary step back. Her hands, once so graceful, now clenched tightly at her sides. The memories of 15 years together cascaded through the room. Moments of tenderness, shared glances, whispered dreams. All of it was now intermingled with the bitter taste of betrayal. For a moment, the two stood locked in silence, each trapped in their own storm of emotion. Then, as if pulled by an inexorable force, the confrontation began in earnest. Vince's voice, rough and edged with fury, broke the stillness. "Why, Amanda? Why hide the truth from me?" His words were not just a demand for answers, but a plea for the remnants of a bond that had once been unbreakable. Amanda's lips trembled as she searched for the right words. The room seemed to shrink around her as she spoke in a voice that quivered with both pain and desperation. "Vince, you have to understand, it wasn't just a choice. I was trapped, coerced by forces beyond our control, and I couldn't bear the thought of a future that was never truly mine." Her confession, raw and unfiltered, spilled out in halting bursts, each sentence punctuated by the deep, silent sob that threatened to break her composure. As she spoke, the room transformed into a stage for a tragic performance. Vince's face contorted, his eyes blazing with a mixture of disbelief and unrelenting anger. Every syllable from Amanda was like gasoline on a fire that had been smoldering in his heart. He advanced a step closer, the sound of his polished shoes against the cold floor echoing like the drumbeat of impending doom. "Trapped? Coerced? Is that your excuse for shattering everything we built?" he demanded, his voice resonating with the authority of a man who once believed in unbreakable bonds. The intensity of the moment was heightened by every detail. The flicker of the chandelier overhead, the soft rustle of the drapes as a stray breeze slipped in through a slightly ajar window, and the distant roll of thunder that seemed to underscore the gravity of their exchange. Every element of the room conspired to amplify the raw emotions swirling between them, turning the confrontation into a scene of epic tragedy. Amanda's eyes darted around the room, as if seeking solace in the opulence that once comforted her. "Vince, you know the life I led wasn't simple. I had demons to battle, inner turmoil that no one could ever see. There were moments when I felt suffocated by the weight of our legacy, moments when the future promised nothing but pain," she confessed, her tone wavering between defiance and vulnerability. "I tried to keep that part of me hidden, to protect you, to protect what we built. But I was cornered by circumstances, by secrets that were far more dangerous than you can imagine." Each word struck Vince like a blow, each admission a knife twisting deeper into the heart of the shared history they had forged. His face was a portrait of anguish, the lines of regret and betrayal etched deeply across his features. "You betrayed us, Amanda. Not just me, but the legacy we both swore to uphold. Our family, our future, gone because you were too afraid to face your own truth," he spat, the intensity of his voice shaking the very foundations of the room. For a long, harrowing minute, the two stood facing each other, a tragic tableau of shattered dreams. The room was charged with an energy so palpable it felt as though the very air vibrated with the echoes of their past. Vince's fists clenched at his sides, and his eyes shimmered with unshed tears, a silent testament to the pain that had overtaken him. Yet, amidst that torrent of fury and sorrow, a reluctant glimmer of the man he once was surfaced, a man who had once believed in redemption and forgiveness. "Amanda, I once believed in us," Vince said, his voice softening for a moment, as though he were trying to reach the woman he had loved for 15 years. "I believed that even in the darkest times, our love could conquer anything. But now I'm not sure what remains." His words hung in the air, heavy with a longing for a past. Amanda's eyes filled with tears as she reached out a trembling hand toward him, her expression a mixture of regret and sorrow. "I never wanted to hurt you, Vince. I was lost, and the choices I made, they were made in a moment of desperation. I wish I could take them back, but I can't," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of the clock's relentless ticking. The atmosphere in the room grew even more oppressive as the minutes stretched into an eternity. The luxurious surroundings, once symbols of their shared success and enduring love, now bore silent witness to the unraveling of a bond that had once seemed unbreakable. The conversation became a volley of shattered memories and bitter accusations. Vince's earlier demand for answers was replaced by an unspoken determination, a resolve to confront the full extent of the betrayal that now stood before him. Every lie, every hidden secret, it's like you've been living two lives, Vince accused, his tone laced with a combination of grief and anger. I trusted you with everything, and you dismantled our future one forbidden secret at a time. His voice resonated in the vast space of the room, each word cutting deeper than the last. In that moment, the room ceased to be a sanctuary and transformed into a battleground, a place where every truth was dissected and every emotion laid bare. The confrontation had become an irreversible clash of ideals. One side clinging desperately to a past filled with hope and promise, the other irrevocably marred by the betrayals that had festered in the shadows. As the tension reached its zenith, the silence that followed was more profound than any noise. It was a silence heavy with regret, a silence that promised that nothing would ever be the same again. Vince's eyes, now glistening with a raw, unfiltered mix of pain and determination, met Amanda's tearful gaze. In that silent exchange, the enormity of their fractured love was laid bare, a love once unyielding, now forever tainted by the unforgivable truth. The confrontation, with all its whispered accusations and shattered memories, had irrevocably altered the course of their lives. In that fateful room, amidst opulence that had once symbolized their power and unity, Vince and Amanda stood on the precipice of irrevocable change. Every whispered word, every anguished plea, had forged a moment that would echo through the corridors of their legacy, a legacy now marred by secrets, regret, and the painful cost of a love betrayed. And as the night deepened around them, with shadows creeping along the walls and the distant rumble of thunder promising an uncertain dawn, one thing was painfully clear: nothing would ever be the same again. In the chaotic silence that followed the confrontation, time slowed to a heartbeat. Vince, torn between love and an unwavering commitment to his world's brutal codes, reached a point of no return. With the weight of betrayal pressing down on him like a tidal wave, his eyes hardened as he drew the cold, unforgiving weapon that had long been a symbol of his power. In that harrowing moment, every detail, the flickering candlelight, the sharp metallic scent of blood, the silent, desperate pleas etched itself into the fabric of his soul. With a single, irrevocable action, Vince ended the life of the woman who had shared his world for 15 long years, sealing both his fate and the destiny of his legacy in one shattering act of violence. As dawn crept over the rain-soaked city, the echoes of that fateful night resonated throughout the criminal underworld. Vince's act sent shockwaves far beyond his mansion's walls, fracturing alliances and igniting whispers of vengeance. The mob's strict code demanded retribution, while the very act threatened to unravel the legacy Vince had spent decades building. Now a haunted figure burdened with guilt and the irreversible consequences of his actions, Vince found himself isolated in a realm where honor was both his salvation and his curse. The silence in his now empty home was deafening, filled with memories of laughter, love, and the hollow space where trust once dwelled. In the end, the story of betrayal, violence, and shattered dreams left an indelible mark on the city, a grim reminder that in the Mafia's dark world, some secrets are too dangerous to remain hidden. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Crime Chronicles for more tales of passion, betrayal, and the devastating costs of secrecy in a world where loyalty is everything and the price of broken trust is paid in blood.